Nick Loper is the founder of Side Hustle Nation and the host of the Side Hustle Show. So I figured who better to bring in to talk to us about some weird, wacky, fun side hustles than Nick. So, Nick, first of all, welcome to the show. And second of all, tell us about some of the most out there side hustles that you've ever seen.
Thanks so much for having me. This is like my favorite topic. We've been covering this for 12 plus years on on the Side Hustle Show, and I'm so grateful to be in the position where now it become like a magnet, where people send them to me, and like just the stuff that comes across my desk or bubbles up from the Side Hustle Nation community. It's so much fun. So one of the first ones we featured this on our Thanksgiving episode last year was a guy who set up his vintage typewriter. He was in Tennessee someplace on a busy Saturday, out at the park, and it was pay what you want poetry. And he said, "Oh, I've made $200-300 over half of the morning on this busy Saturday." Just
Really?
people would walk by and they'd be like, I'll buy a poem. Let's see what you got." And they would tip him 5, 10, $20, whatever it was. I didn't get the impression he was necessarily like a struggling writer. Maybe he was getting some client work for freelance writing gigs, but here was like a really unique way to turn his creativity into an extra income stream and bring a little joy to people's weekend as well.
Have you read any of his poems? Like, are they any good?
I haven't been a customer just yet, but it seems like a really fun gig.
Yeah, no, it's super fun. Just way to be outside, chat with people on a beautiful Saturday morning. Like that sounds fun. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you could pivot it to, the caricature artists, obviously a popular one. You maybe behind the scenes, you could have like a little chat GPT, like help me come up with a poem really quick, or, tell, guaranteed to make you laugh, joke telling type of service. I think there's lots of different ways to go about it.
Ah, I love it. All right, what's next?
Another one from that same episode was really interesting, and this was a virtual mechanic. And so you think about, a car technician, like this is a very hands-on job. This is very much like turning wrenches, hours for dollars type of business. But through this site called Just Answer, this guy named Chris, he was a former Ford technician. He started taking these like remote technical car repair questions, and I forget what his hourly rate was, but he said in this article he was making up to $14,000 a month as a virtual mechanic, helping people diagnose and troubleshoot their car problems over the phone. And I was like, wow, that is for something I thought was going to have to be totally a hands-on skill. To be able to bring that online was really unique. And so Just Answer is this website that curates experts, and then if you have questions, you can pay. Like if you have a plumbing problem, you can hire or you can call somebody up who knows how to deal with that. But there's all sorts of different skills on there. And so if you have expertise in some area, you could sign yourself up as an expert.
It takes me back to Saturday mornings driving around with my dad when I was a kid, when he had Car Talk on with Click and Clack, the
Uh-huh.
Tappet Brothers. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
they start doing the sound effects. Like, no, it kind of sounds like a
yeah, exactly. And they were funny. Like they were good. But yeah, it totally reminds me of that. All right, what's next?
Another really fun one. This was a dorm room design service. Apparently, this is a big thing, specifically like in SEC schools in Southeast United States, where everybody's looking for this like really Instagram worthy, like really well designed rooms. And so I came across this woman. She goes by Mary Margaret Designs on TikTok and Instagram, and she says people would pay $20,000 to $30,000 per dorm room design project. And I thought that was nuts for such a temporary living space. Okay, I'm going to be here for 9 or 10 months, like whatever the
Yeah.
length of the school term is, and then I'm going to get moved on to the next dorm room. But it was kind of built on the back of doing her own daughter's room, or a friend of her daughter's, that kind of ended up going viral. And all of a sudden, she started getting all this inbound press or inbound inquiries, like, "Oh, could you do my daughter's room?" And I was like, "Oh, she's starting this fall. Could you?" And it's like booked up, months in advance, as soon as people know where they're going to be. And she starts putting together these design packages. It's like, I again, my dorm room experience was like, okay, put up the Fight Club poster on the wall, and there's no room. Didn't give a second thought to any other kind of decorating.
Oh, yeah, same here. I'm just curious here, was this all virtual? She wasn't actually going physically to any of these dorm rooms, right? Like, or was she?
I'm not sure about that. So it sounds like it would have coordinated the furniture selection, and so it's probably her design fee, and then you got to go order the actual stuff. But and the bedding and like all this stuff. So I don't know how much of it was actually hands-on, or it's like, here, I'm going to draw you the picture. We're going to lay it out, through some sort of design software, and then it's on you to go put it together. Or if she's like showing up on move-in weekend and actually doing the staging and setup.
It blows my mind that people are willing to pay that kind of money for that. But, I guess it doesn't take that many clients to earn really good money doing that. So if you have a few wealthy clients who really care about their image on social media, then I guess you're set. So good for her for finding a niche like that.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I'm gonna find another one that was related. It was like a Halloween side hustle. It was this woman in Dallas, Fort Worth area who was doing like porch decorating, pumpkin. He's like, I will basically put a pile of pumpkins on your porch, but I'm going to make them look nice and curate the pumpkins and stuff. And it was like, from August to October, basically, maybe November, like she would book like $1 million worth of pumpkin sales. And she had she had to have a warehouse and supplier relationships and trucks to deliver the pumpkins. So it's like there were some expenses involved, but it was like people are paying somebody to come put pumpkins on their porch. Like here's a business that like almost anybody could do.
Was she carving the pumpkins?
There was no carving involved.
No carving.
It was just like stacking them up.
Just sending the pumpkins.
Sending, and staging them nicely. Apparently it's a big thing in the South. It was fascinating. And so my kids and I were at the grocery store like in early October, and we saw a woman with like, she had no groceries in her cart, but it was filled with pumpkins. She had like 50 different pumpkins. And we're like, I wonder if she's doing the same business like here in the Northwest. So that was really fascinating. And we actually did find a pumpkin carving service too, where it was up to $700 per pumpkin. But it was kind of like for like corporate events or weddings where it was like custom pumpkin artwork, which again it seemed kind of like that's even more temporary than the dorm room thing, because it's like it's going to rot in like a few weeks.
Well, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like an ice sculpture, where it becomes a work of art at that point. That's like a conversation piece.
Yes, for sure.
All right, we've got time for one more. What's your fifth and final weird, wacky side hustle that you've come across?
All right, this was a great one. The headline was, I've made $40,000 going after illegal robocallers. And so this is whenever you get a spam call on your phone. The game was to keep them interested and engaged and kind of lead them along long enough to where you get transferred to the US based office, because a lot of times it's going to be, an overseas, auto dialing service or company that's doing it. And then you got to get transferred to their supervisor. And then you start taking down the information and, okay, this is this company, you're documenting all these calls. It's kind of this fun game where this guy who was actually ended up being nearby me in the Northwest started playing with these robocallers. And what was really interesting was, as soon as you have kind of caught them in the act, they're so quick to settle, because like the penalties are like $1,500. Like if you're actually in violation of this do not call registry, like it's a pretty steep penalty. But once you have this documentation paper trail, they're like, can we just settle this? Right. So they're like, he started getting PayPal deposits for like $500, $1,000. Like the companies know they're in the wrong. They just don't want to fight it. They're like, make this guy go away.
So he wasn't earning money from like the bounty or whatever that the government pays out for those. He was actually earning money by like threatening to turn these people into the government. Is that right? Like, I don't want to use the word blackmail, but he was privately settling with these companies who were in violation.
Yeah, and they were so quick to settle. It's like, man, what would happen if you said, no, I'm going to escalate this? But it's like, oh, it's just quick and easy. They wanted to make me go away.
Wow, fascinating.
Yeah, it's
fascinating.
an average of $2,600 per case. So that works out to 14, 15 cases of an everyday annoyance of a robocall into cash flow. That was super interesting.
Yeah, and I'm imagining he's not spending a lot of time per one of these, right? I mean, he probably, an hour on the phone with them and then maybe another hour negotiating the settlement, something like that? Like,
yeah, it can't be huge. You got to imagine the hourly rate is pretty strong.
Yeah. Well, I love those. Nick, in 30 seconds or less, tell us how you help people and how people can connect with you if they want to take you up on that help.
Yeah. So the main way that we help people is showcasing hundreds of different side hustles at this point, mostly through interviews, mostly through been there, done that, how I built this style interviews with successful entrepreneurs, some of which are still working on the side, many of which have turned their side hustle into a full-time thing. You can find the Side Hustle Show wherever you listen to podcasts. Other than that, Side sidehustlenation.com is the home base.
Yeah, and you raised a great point there that, a side hustle can start as like a fun little hobby business and then it can become your main gig. A lot of people will ditch their day job and go pursue their side hustle full time. Whether that's actually full-time work or whether they earn enough from it to earn a full-time living without actually having to work full-time. So guys, if you got a fresh perspective from this quick episode, subscribe for more awesomeness twice a week and pay it forward by passing this along to your friends, family, college or colleagues or college dorm roommates or, a second cousin twice removed. And lastly, consider joining our co-investing club. Check out sparkfunnel.com/free for a free course on how passive real estate investing works. And if you want to invest alongside other people, join us. On that note, stay weird, unconventional investor.